Ladies and gentlemen, children around the world, let me tell you about three little letters that sometimes, I don't know why the wrong camera is on there, but now we got it right. Sometimes they mess up a payments person and our payments professionals and our paymentpreneurs around the US. Those three letters that we sometimes get a little bit scared of is ACH. Why do we get scared of it? Well, we may say something like, oh, no one uses ACH. Or we may say something like, oh, it's just way too much work. Or we may say something, I can't make any money doing ACH. Or
Yes.
you know what? It's just not worth it. Well, today on Office Hours with Mike and Jenny, we are going to bring the truth about ACH as we now have Payments Hub Pay by Bank. And I'm not going to be the only one answering our questions about ACH because I probably don't know the answers. That's why I always bring the smartest, the most intellectual people that I know, the best trainers and relationship managers, our team here at PayProTec. And now I bring them on the screen. In the center of the screen, Mrs. Jenny Rickle. Jenny, how is life in Colorado? Is spring finally sticking there? Last week it was snowing. What are we doing here?
It kind of changes in mind back and forth within the beautiful state of Colorado. So today it's sunny and I'm loving it. So I'm just going to stick with that. It's a beautiful, nice day. It might be 70 degrees. So I'm happy with that.
That can't ask anything better. 70, it's, and I think it'll be 80 something here in Indianapolis,
Yeah.
84, 86, something like that. It's beautiful and sunny. I can look out the window over here and see the sun is shining across the way. I believe that's
Mhm.
true for you, Mr. Mike Stetzel. How are things in Warsaw, Indiana, Mike?
Oh man, it's great. 82, 83 today. I can hear the neighbors mowing the lawn. You can smell the clean cut grass. I'm a little early this year, but I started filling the pool. We've got a very busy May coming, and then all kinds of things happening with graduation and family party and things like that. So I'm just trying to stay ahead of the game, get it warmed up a little bit.
Well, talking of staying ahead of the game, not always are we staying ahead of the
Yes,
game
sir.
just simply by making sure our pool, thank you, Mike, for rubbing it in that you have a pool. No, okay.
Yeah.
But that not only are you filling in the pool early, but sometimes you got to be on top of the oldest payments network that's existed, and that is ACH. And
Amen.
it's the way that we've moved money from bank to bank here in the United States. And for, I think, since 19, do you guys remember the date? I remember this in my CPP exam back in the day. It was like,
Ah,
I think it's 52 or something like that, but I could be wrong. I should have looked it up before I got, but it's been a while. We've been using this, antiquated ACH. We've improved it over the last several years. We have same day ACH. We have a bunch of improvements to it, but it's what everyone has. And I'm going to put Jenny on the spot because you're in the middle, Jenny. Can you give us a layman's description of what ACH is?
ACH is just going to allow you the ability or somebody to use their bank account for a payment instead of a credit card. So it's going to be an additional payment option instead of using a credit card. It's still electronic, right? But you enter in the banking information and then funds are then transferred electronically from your bank account versus a credit card.
And what happens ultimately is there's a little more question on how some of the deposits happen. Some banks are a little slower and faster. Some banks process ACH at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 a.m., 4 p.m. There's a lot of different rules. But at the end of the day, it's advantageous because the baseline price of the actual transaction, the interchange, though it's not technically interchange, is significantly lower. Mike, we are introducing our new pay by bank that's in Payments Hub. Can you tell us where our baseline pricing is?
this is so simple, and I was really surprised when I read it. But it's 8 cents per transaction. That's the buy rate. We have options of adding a percentage per transaction. We have options of using a percentage plus a transaction fee. We have an option of using a percentage plus, you can say, or a minimum of $1, for example, so that you have a lot of flexibility. And, you know, as you mentioned in one of your opening statements, Nate, that we often thought, oh, I can't make money with this. It's not true anymore. If you look at maybe pricing somebody at 3% for credit cards, let's say you're pricing them at 50 basis points um, for ACH. You're making 25 basis points still on that ACH, whereas we just use third-party providers before, and we pass through our buy rates. So it's pretty exciting to have our own. It now makes Payments Hub very equivalent to the third-party gateways that we've used. At this point, the only thing we're probably missing is the ability to do level 2 and 3 transactions, which is a smaller audience anyway. So we're in the gateway business in a full way now. You're muted.
Man, I say when I was giving that last question, just full disclosure, I was about to go into a complete coughing hack. So I was trying to get that question out without going into it. I got to it. And then I, professionally hit the mute button, went to my cough, got a little drink of water while you were talking, and then forgot to unmute myself. So
I
I'm
would have
outing
never known
myself.
that you had a coughing fit,
Yeah.
Nate.
But all right. So ACH is not meant for the corner bodega. The people are not going to walk in and say, "Hey, I'd like to buy that candy bar, and I'm going to put in my routing number and my account number, and let's get all that taken care of." No, that is not what it's meant for. But ACH has some unique cases probably that are helpful. And I didn't even tell you I was going to ask this question, so hopefully you have an answer. I have some ideas. If you don't, Mike and Jenny, what would be some good use cases where ACH is a good fit and maybe even some use cases that we're already using it and using third parties that we've had access to already, and now we're bringing it directly into Payments Hub?
For me, when I think about ACH payments, I think about either primarily invoicing, right? So if you have a contractor or some kind of somebody in the service industry that sends out invoices, this is going to be such a great option to add on, right? Because sometimes people really do prefer to use their banking information versus a credit card. So I see that a lot. But like Nate said, really for like your basic like retail and restaurants is going to be up your alley. But you have somebody who has card not present transactions, they're using the virtual terminal, they're sending out invoices a lot. This is going to be a great solution to also add in to offer as part of your solution as a sales partner.
Love it. Yep. Mike, do you have anything to add? Any other ones that you can think of?
I think we're probably talking about similar things. The other thing I think of is larger ticket items. My father-in-law, before he retired, sold ball bearings, and not the little ones, like humongous things that go on a semi truck. They're $30,000. Wanted him to do credit cards. And he's like, yeah, nobody's going to do it. So anyway, though that would be ideal. We have several companies that sell very large pieces quite often, and it really helps their customers save some money on a credit card. There are a lot of people we know that would gladly put that transaction on their credit card for the rewards. There's other companies that just won't do that. So again, it's a good solution for that. And I think Tim just brought up in the chat, he said he has an air conditioning client that gets a lot of checks. I think that's probably still a pretty safe thing, as opposed to the bodega, like Nate said, where you have a lot of liability involved with somebody coming in and spending $100, and then they've quote unquote written you a bad check. But in Tim's case there, it makes sense for them to take a check over the phone, basically, is what it would amount to, or send the invoice, and you have merchandise there that you could go repossess from that home if you had a problem with it. So great point, Tim.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is it's another also way to get into the edge conversation, the dual pricing. Obviously, a lot of times in the world, Visa and MasterCard don't care about convenience fees. They don't care about, so many other things. But when it comes to card not present, I'm sorry, right. They don't care about, there are a lot of things they don't care about, and other things they don't, and that doesn't always make sense to me. Sorry, Visa and MasterCard, I love you overlords, but I don't always understand your decision-making process. But at the end of the day, when we're trying to make that discussion point with a merchant about, hey, you can offer two prices and it's a card not present solution, we don't always have another way. What's the second price? You can use credit or debit, and now you say you can enter another conversation. And Mike, I know we've watched the early demos of how this works. How does that work? Can you waive the fee, or, as we used to call it, or have a discount price for the ACH versus the ones that you're going to charge 4% to be able to use a credit card on an invoice? Does that work in the Payments Hub work?
It does. So it's really cool. Your invoice is going to show up as $104 if you choose the ACH payment option. That $4 goes away, and you pay your $100 transaction. Everybody's happy and simple. you've offered an alternative. Even though, as Nate says, it's Wild West with online transactions, we've not gotten to a point of being required to offer that. I just think it can be a nice touch for certain merchants' customers.
Yeah. And I think especially in high ticket situations,
Yeah.
if you're going to say, hey, you're going to need to pay an extra 4% on this $10,000 transaction, is obviously adds a little more money than when you're at $1 and it's only 4 cents and suddenly it's $400. So when you start doing that, giving them an option to, and maybe 3.5, or you go 3 at those large transactions, but giving them an opportunity to go ACH and most likely have similar margins, because a lot of times in the ACH world we don't make ACH, but because we have customized pricing and the Schedule A for you with this on it, Jenny, this means there could be a margin, right? That actually creates profit center when they're using and doing $10,000 transaction when properly priced.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So you could take this to your advantage. I love the thing about PayProTec is we are flexible with our pricing as long as you meet the buy rates, right? As long as you're paying the bills, but you have the flexibility and the opportunity to go ahead and up that if needed, especially with those businesses that have that opportunity there. So, you know what I mean? Take this and make it work for you. You can use it as an additional service, like Mike was saying earlier, for like somebody who's in air conditioning or a plumber, anything like that. You can utilize this service for a lot of businesses out there. Use it with our edge pricing. It's a really fantastic addition to everything that we offer.
And this is just the beginning. We're getting this out there now, but it's not. There are more features to come. Some of the features, one of them that I specifically am excited about, as soon as it'll be directly in the API integration, and our third parties will be able to use this instead of always going to some of our, so a ChargeZoom or some of our other gateway family of companies that we still may want to use because they have specific features that they work. We'll be able to use the ACH product here at the same buy rates. And so we'll be able to figure out something that's easier and more seamless to be able to do it. And it's not a second application because, Mike, when we're doing this, I'm going to go, I'll let Mike and Jenny choose. I want to talk about what it looks like to set it up for a new customer today and what it looks like to set it up for a existing customer that wants to add ACH. Who wants to take the first one? New customers.
I can do it.
All right, Mike.
It's really cool. I mean, it's kind of like where you choose PIN debit, you choose ACH processing. And then in the pricing section, you need to choose from those parameters that I described. Once that's complete, I mean, it's a very small piece to it to get that to go into action right there with your application, as Nate said.
And then, Jenny, how about for our wonderful new or existing customers? We're seeing some of this is changing as we speak. We know that there's the ability to opt in is coming to our partners, but even that, if merchants want to add it, or you're walking out and you're talking to the merchants, we're going to opportunity for some of them where they can raise their hand and say, I want it. And then hopefully it'll notify you and you'll be able to do it. But how about if you know that you have a merchant that, hey, they've been asking for this, or I want to switch them off of another third-party ACH product. How do they work through that? And what's that look like right now?
Absolutely. So right now, currently, we're just going to have email requests go in. It's going to be achproduct@paymentshub.com. And also reach out to us directly. So we're happy to help with this as well. Keep us involved as you go through this process. Because it is a new process, we want to make sure that you get all your questions answered. That way we get everything up and going correctly. So we have an email request, but also reach out to your relationship manager. You can also reach out to partners@payprotec.com or reach out to the trainers, and we're happy to help. But it's just a simple email. We'll get them pricing set up, get it added in, and get them rocking and rolling.
Perfect. And I mean, ultimately, it's something a long time coming. It's something that's probably one of the most asked about. Can I do ACH right here from our virtual terminal and payments? Can I add it? And this is a product that then eventually will hopefully be intrinsic of everything that goes through EPX. But, the first step is just to bring it into the home-based products right there. And that is getting it there in Payments Hub. So you have invoicing that you can use it for. You have virtual terminal. You can do recurring invoicing and payments on that. The one feature I know you can't do at this point is the click to pay and the embedded payment link. It's not added to that yet. and some of the other features to add to the third parties. Is there anything else that we should bring to our partners to make sure they know where we are currently with the new Pay by Bank at Payments Hub?
I would say
Anything?
just reach out and ask if you have any questions. It's new to
Yeah.
us as well, right? So we're really happy to offer it to everybody. And if you have any questions, reach out. We're
Yep.
here.
Yep. And I see Robert asking, let's see if I can actually bring this question up. I always like to do that. What equipment is required? It's not an equipment. It's really in an EPX account. And so you can do it as simple as just setting them up within a Payments Hub EPX account and they'll have it. But then the opportunity is to set it up with any equipment that you're running through EPX and doing it on Payments Hub. And then there would be an availability and you can just do it right through enrollment and add it to the application. So as long as you're doing an EPX account, ACH is available. It doesn't mean that you would have, it's going to be on your Deja Vu or your Ingenico or even your Payneware at this point. That is going to be a possibility, and there's an opportunity for that in the future where that can actually be done at the point of sale and actually at the terminal and the piece of hardware. But any hardware can add ACH in the back end to be able to do it through the virtual terminal and invoicing products.
Yeah, it is not a check scanner by any means. We had those a long time ago, but yeah, it's not a piece of equipment where you're going to swipe that thing through there. It's totally in Payments Hub, Robert.
Okay, so now back to an ACH product. I should have started out. This would be a good intro. Then when was the last time? Who's written a physical check? I have not written a physical check at least since 2017, 16. I've sent a few checks through my bank where I pay for things, but all my stuff's on auto pay or I pay it online. When's the last time? Are you guys big check writers? Mike?
Like once a month, I pay a couple bills with a check, but it's not often, right? But most of the time, I use an online platform to enter my banking information.
Yeah.
So I do that quite often.
We have to pay for certain fundraiser things at our dance school because they haven't caught up with the times yet.
To the school. Yeah.
And then I paid my contractor with a check because he didn't take cards, nor did he take Venmo. So
yeah,
that was a lot of numbers. So yeah, not writing a check. You're like, how do you do this again? And no 100s.
Well, yep. I haven't written a check in a long time. I'm just being honest.
Impressive.
I am I'm an early adopter of everything, sometimes to my own detriment, but man, I rarely carry cash unless even in Vegas. And even then, last time I didn't gamble the whole time. So, didn't even carry any cash. Didn't have to. So back to the ACH. I really think probably 10 to 15% of your accounts that you're setting up with PayProTec should go ahead and you should introduce ACH. Most of our brick and mortar places, ACH wouldn't be a value add to them. Where they're not going to see any added transactions, any added value. But any of our card not present solutions, we should certainly think about it and talk about it. And there are lots of ways. So we'd love to hear, email partners at PayProTec, email me at nate@payprotec.com. And I would love to hear your ideas and what might be what are some of the ways to use ACH, because we'll share that with our other partners. I think hopefully now that this is here, it was always just a little cumbersome, and we have quite a few people using it, but hopefully we'll see more and more ACH. So, all right.
One more there, and yep. I think it's a quick one. Any concerns about bounce transactions, Robert said.
Yep.
I think part of what Nate got at is that's why you're not doing this in a brick and mortar. Hey, I'm going to step up to the register at the grocery store or the bodega and pay $100 for my groceries, and then there's no money in my checking account. That's an accident waiting to happen. Tim's guy, I put $5,000 of work into your home. I'll come take your air conditioner. Your home repairs, your car repairs, those things, I think, and this is just my opinion, you've got some security interest there. And it still goes with a little bit of a grain of salt, like taking a check in general. Because it's not a guaranteed payment by any means. So I think being specific and picky about where you use it would probably go a long way with that, Robert.
Yep. And I think this gets us more and more. Tim specifically says in Kentucky, most liquor distributors will not take anything but checks. That is true. In the B2B space, there's still a lot of check writing, or there's already been ACH and we haven't had an easy solution for it. This gives a great conversation to say, hey, because paper checks are a lot of risk. This would be a good research piece to go out and research, but I know the amount of fraud and checks that are stolen are higher than the amount of chargebacks set in us. I know paper check fraud is still a major game player because people know where they need to go to find. That's why the big businesses pay these huge amounts of money to have these lock boxes where all their mail comes through, so no one can get to that lock box because there are people trying out there to snipe it. Well, these smaller companies aren't going to pay $10,000 a month to have a security company manage their lockbox. So there are lots of ways and conversations that can be had to bring this ACH product in. We now have something that's not a huge amount of extra work. It's very simple to add it on versus a whole nother application, a whole nother product, a whole nother solution. It's all integrated right into something you're already offering. It's going to be able to add it to your current merchants. And it's just another value add to make in. And so I think this is going to be a good solution for all of us. All right. So now we've got to make it's time for just a small, little advertisement. And then I'm going to come back and let Jenny be our closing word today. I forget who did it last week, but I'm going to go Jenny.
Mike wasn't here last week, was he? So I think it's got to be Mike today.
Oh, it's got to be Mike because Mike was here. But,
where was I last week?
Last week was kind of the for this. Well, okay, so we'll go Mike. Jenny wants Mike to do it, and I only listen to Jenny. So Mike, you're going to do that.
Oh yeah, we didn't have. We had the awards last week.
So
nobody did it. Yeah,
which is about what I'm going to talk about. So we are coming up to just about 5 weeks from being in sunny Florida, June 2nd through 4th, where we're going to be at the SEA conference. We're going to be at booth. We'll be starting next Monday. You're going to start hearing me say, I'm going to be at booth XYZ. That's when we find out our booth numbers. It's a random draw that's put together at SEA. It makes me nervous. I got to choose my own booth when we were at NEA. Now I just got to wait and find out what booth they're going to give me. But we've paid our money. We're going to get our booth. We'll tell you what booth we're going to be at. We're going to see lots of our partners there in beautiful sunny Florida. Right there, the JW Marriott is where the SEA is. But we thought, you know what? We want to get a group of rooms. We couldn't get it at JW Marriott because we got a group of rooms for our partners who want to have for $209 a night. We still have a few of them available at right across the street at even a bigger and fancier hotel. And for the same price of the JW Marriott, go ahead and look up the Marriott Orlando World Center Marriott. It has all the features, all the bells and whistles, all the restaurants. And on top of that, on June 2nd or 4th, we're going to be at SEA. But on the 4th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., including a lunch, we're going to have a live training where we're going to have roundtable discussions with our partners, learning from each other. We're going to present some new products and opportunities. We'll be talking about, I'm sure, this ACH product because it'll be 6 weeks old and we'll have a little more knowledge of what's going on and how it's working. And we're going to specifically be talking and engaging how we can work together to sharpen each other because there's plenty of businesses out there, but we have the best partners in the world. We might as well start learning from each other, sharpening each other so that continued growth happens at PayProTec. And the theme for all of this while we're in Florida is the magic is in the partnership. And I think that fits when we're in Orlando and we want you to be there. We're just, so if you have not gone to payprotec.com/event or /join, I always say event, it's join. We used event like 7 years ago and I can't get it out of my head. Payprotec.com/join, or you can go to join.payprotec.com. They all go to the same place and you can see all the information. You can fill out the form, say, hey, I'm going to be there on the 4th. I'm going to be at SEAA. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have swag and clothes. We were just working. I just saw while I was working here, a t-shirt that we're putting and designing together. We're going to have men's and women's clothing. We're going to have hats to give away. And then we're going to have the best training, the best time. We're going to have drinks, networking, all the things that can happen. And Jenny will not be joining us, but Mr. Mike Stetzel will be there in the Florida. Won't be a bad time to come hang out in Florida. We hope you'll join us. It's only 6 weeks away. Mike, it is time for the closing word.
I will tell you, I don't want to be, but from a standpoint of an even trade, you guys are losing on that one. Jenny's much prettier than I am. Anyway,
so much fun. I'm really bummed I can't go. You're gonna have a great time.
We'll have fun. I heard everybody's ditching me during the training while they go to the pool. So my final word would be no. Just kidding. For real, this is funny. The ACH has made me really excited today. I think it's because, as we've all said, this really completes a product that has been in development for a long time. And I know that we always wish for things and always want that next feature. And we appreciate everybody sticking with us and being ready for cool things like this. There's a lot more to come. As Nate said, we'll be revealing some of those things less than 6 weeks from now, almost. And so hopefully we can see as many people as we can in June in Florida. Both beautiful facilities where both of these activities are being held. So anyway, get to mypapertech.com/join and join us. Have a great week, everybody.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful time. We'll see you next week on Office Hours.
See ya.
Bye.